Hey guys, hope you're all well, hope you're all good. And today's video is a chat and interview with Troy Francis. And I have to say, I took his course, Charisma and Dating Academy, a couple of months ago. And I have to say, it was a really good course. 10 hours packed full of video on different ways to develop your charisma and personality. And there's all different kind of topics and stuff on there. You know, how to become charismatic, become more attractive to the ladies, develop your personal habits, self-development, meditation, affirmations, plus the webinars, live coaching with Troy and other guests come in who are on the self-development path and just generally want to level up and be the best versions of themselves. So it's a really good course. Khan Academy, recommend it. I think he is bringing it out in December, so check it out and definitely helped me. It's kind of what motivated me to want to do start my YouTube back up, to develop my speaking and personality and general self-confidence. So guys, we'll get into the chat. Hope you'll have a great day and enjoy. Hey Troy, how you doing, mate?
All good, man. All good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Glad to have you on your channel. On my channel, really glad you took the time to come out. And,
Yeah, of course, man.
as you know, I took your CAD course a couple of months ago,
Indeed, CAD Academy Q3.
and I have to say, really good, packed full of content, and I can't believe how long it was. Like, and you said it's roughly about 10 hours full of content in the course.
Absolutely, yeah. 10 hours worth of video content, and then obviously we go into the live webinars as well, which there's 10 live webinars of about 2 hours each into a week or so after the course comes out.
I mean, every video was packed full of content. I was surprised. Like, it was better than I thought it was going to be. Every video was broke down into different segments on how to get better in different areas of your life, and took me a good few days to get through. By the time the webinars came about, it gave people about a week to get through
Yeah,
the course. I was still doing the course, so I have to
nice.
say, good, very good, and I would recommend it to anybody who wants to level up.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, thanks, man. I'm really glad to hear that. And you were saying that it sort of improved your confidence and you got some results off the back of it as well.
Yeah, funny enough, like as soon as I did the course, like a few days after I did complete the webinars and the course, like I met a new girl. Like,
Nice.
like
Good
a
to hear.
married
It's
girl
good
or
to hear,
something.
mate. Indeed, yeah, it's good to hear. I mean, that's what it's designed to do, really, to just give people that kick, so that then when they get back out there, you know, they're ready to rock and roll, basically. And yeah, I'm very glad to hear that that's been the case with you.
Cheers, mate. So what kind of got you started into like self-development, getting better with meeting people and meeting women and self-confidence?
Well, it's been quite a long journey, really, because like when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, and even into my early 20s, I was really bad with women. But to be honest, I was pretty bad with everybody. I mean, like I was just socially kind of very shy, very like low self-esteem. I just wasn't somebody who was really comfortable like socializing with other people, and so obviously I didn't get any girlfriends or anything like that as a younger dude. I mean, I did have some girls who were kind of interested in me at times at school and college and things, but I tended to just ignore those and focus on the cutest girl in the class sort of thing. And then she wouldn't reciprocate and I'd get into one-itis and all of that. And so it was just all a bit of a car crash, to be honest. And so, you know, I think I reached that point when I was about 20 when I thought, do you know what? I need to break out of this. Do you know what I mean? I need to try something different. And I was in Manchester at the time and I just there was a combination of reasons why this happened, but I just started throwing caution to the wind. I just started being a lot more like, do you know what? I just don't care what people think of me. I'm just going to go out and just be myself in front of women, in front of, you know, people. I just like see what happens. And what happened was with that change in mindset, I started to actually attract women to me. And I got a girlfriend and then we broke up and then I started to see other girls and it sort of snowballed from there really. So that was the initial thing. But then in my late 20s, then I discovered that there was this thing called game, and that there was actually sort of like some study in this area, and the guys had shared notes about it. And that's when I sort of started to take it a bit more seriously as a discipline, if you like.
So you kind of came across the tools to make yourself better.
Yeah, that's right. Because the thing was, I was like, I was based up in Manchester for a few years, and my results up there, I was dating, I was, meeting different girls.
Working on me, I'm mirroring your body language here.
Yeah, exactly, mate, exactly. Yeah, just a bit of hydration in the morning. But I was like, I was doing all right. I mean, I was there, I was going to the clubs. It was all nighttime stuff. I was just going to the bars, going to the clubs, like a lot. Like we were going out nearly every night of the week at one point. And just meeting different girls, and I had some quite good successes. I met some very nice girls up there, and all the rest of it. But it wasn't really consistent. Do you know what I mean? And so I would go through dry spells and things like this, and it wasn't really. I didn't really know what I was doing, because like all I was doing, to be honest, was volume. I was just going out and talking to a load of girls, and if you do that, you are going to get some results, because it's
going to stick, yeah.
Because it's the law of averages, isn't it? But I was then making a lot of mistakes, and so I was losing out on opportunities and messing things up and stuff like that. So then when I discovered things like the book The Game and then Mystery Method and all these things, I realized that there was more psychology beneath it, and you could, if you acted in a certain way, you could like improve your overall batting average.
And I think the one thing that you focus on as well as game is your fashion, and you say to people, get your game right, get your fitness right, not just get other areas. And I think that's one of the key things that I try and preach to people. I had a mate recently, came single.
Yeah.
I said to him, because sometimes it's hard to forward in videos of like yourself or people who are doing like getting better with girls type videos, because they're like, what's this? So I kind of have to give them the heart to heart. Like, hey man, but sometimes they don't always take it. Like you can't just hand them the copy of The Rational Male, can you? As the old saying goes.
Well, people sort of like, it's weird, isn't it? Because I think people who are into that material, they're really into it. But people who aren't, I think they have a suspicion, because they think, well, this is something that I should just get naturally. And I don't want to have to watch content about it or read about it, because I should just kind of have it. And perhaps they also think that there's nothing really to be learned, because they believe that, if you're just a good guy and, you I don't know, whatever, you're going to just naturally meet somebody. So there is that resistance that people have, for sure. And I had that as well. Do you know what I mean? Like I first became aware about game stuff actually when I was in Manchester, because we knew this guy who was into it. And at the time, I remember thinking, that just sounds a bit dodgy. I'm not really into that. That's not for me.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it was only when I read The Game, which of course was a mainstream book, it pierced into the mainstream, that I thought, oh, actually, okay, there is some kind of interesting stuff here. And that's how I sort of progressed into it. So I can understand why people have that like reticence, but if you could get over that, there is a lot to be learned, and there's a lot of great content and resources out there.
I agree. And the first thing that kind of attracts me to yourself is that because you were British, and I thought, oh, this guy's British, kind of similar sense of humor, similar kind of maybe circumstances. Because you see a lot of people, it's kind of a lot of American people, and some guy in LA preaching how to pick up chicks is a bit different to me in England,
Yeah, well, in Britain, there are a few people, aren't there? I mean, obviously, you're aware of James Tusk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously, like, you've got James Tusk, who's really good, who's smashing it on YouTube and everything else. We had Tom Torero until recently, who's a friend of mine.
Yeah, I used to follow a lot of his content, actually.
Yeah, and obviously he's doing less of the day game stuff now, and he's even doing less content, I think. Like, he hasn't really posted anything for a little while, so which is a shame, because he's a great guy and he does really good content, whether it's focusing on day game or whether it's focusing on the travel stuff. But, he's doing some other stuff.
He's always on the move, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So there are fewer British guys at the moment, which is a bit of a shame, really, because like you say, the American guys are great. A lot of the American guys are awesome. I mean, John Modern Life Dating, right? Well, Ryan's Canadian, but Ryan and these people. But it is a little bit different, I think, in Britain. So it's good to have that like British edge to it as well.
I agree. I think you have to kind of have that bit of relatability sometimes, and then like when you see Tyler RSD, he's a great guy, but you see him meditating in Hawaii, and it's like, well, how can you help me? And
it's a little bit unrelatable. I mean, I learned a lot from him and from a lot of the other American dudes as well. But it was a breath of fresh air when Tom Torero was posting a lot of stuff, because he was just this British guy and he was very relatable. So I get what you mean, because I mean, in some ways it's all the same, like human nature is human nature. But at the same time, obviously there are cultural differences, and it's quite good to sort of reflect that, I think, in some British based content. It was really cool, actually, the other night. I mean, it's kind of funny because obviously we're in lockdown now. So, like, I was out yesterday doing some filming for a video that I'm doing for the CAD Academy, actually, for the launch in 1st to the 5th of December. And there were a few people around, but it's very, very quiet out and about in London at the moment. So we're in this weird kind of situation. But just before lockdown, I don't know what it was like where you are, but it was kind of crazy down here. I was out with James Tusk, and we were working with some guys, and there were just so many people around. There was this amazing, like, almost like party atmosphere in the streets and stuff. The students were getting some good results and things. So hopefully we're going to come out of that lockdown,
2nd of December, isn't it?
Well, so they say, yeah. I mean, hopefully they're going to let us out to some extent. And I reckon the run up to Christmas is going to be quite good, because everyone's just going to be so, like, assuming they do open it, even if there's still some restrictions, the people are just going to be like, they're just going to want to get out and party, aren't they? Do you know what I
mean? I think people, like, I noticed that there was like, when we was locked down back in, it eased up in like spring, beginning of summer. There was like an explosion. Everyone was like meeting up. I had some results on the apps and stuff. And
yeah, I mean, I reckon, like, because obviously there's like different theories about what they're going to do. I mean, they're saying the 2nd of December. I reckon even if they keep it going for a little bit, I reckon they will open at some point in December just for the Christmas bit. Do you know what I mean? So I reckon at some point in December they'll open, and when they do, I think it's just going to go. I think it's going to go kind of nuts. So yeah, it's a good time really for guys to sort of get out there and reap the benefits.
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of people. I for yourself, like, are you 46? Are you?
Yeah.
You look really good. I mean, I'm 31.
Yeah, cheers, man. Yeah.
If I get to your age and I'm still keeping up, like, I'll be what's in the moisturizing cream?
Well, I actually use Kiehl's. I don't know if you're familiar with that brand, but a girl told me about it a few years ago, and I've used it since. It's called Kiehl's Facial Fuel, and it is actually really good. Like, I was never like somebody to spend a lot of money on these things, but it does actually make a difference. So there's a bit of a skincare tip there. But yeah, I mean, the good thing for guys is that if you can keep in reasonable nick, your shelf life does last a lot longer. I mean, like, I always think about my uncle, for example, who's in his 60s now. And he is, he goes to the gym, he runs, he goes skiing a lot. Obviously, lockdown's kind of messed that up, but he travels, goes skiing a lot, and he's like at the après ski parties and stuff like that. And I'm kind of like, I mean, he's married and he's had kids and stuff, so he's gone through the whole thing and come out the other side. But, I kind of look at somebody like him and I think, he's living a pretty good life. He's not like what you would typically imagine like some 60-year-old to be. I mean, he's out partying. I don't know, I know he dates and things like that. I don't know. I'm not saying he's some amazing player or something, but it's just to say that, you can keep up a pretty cool lifestyle really for a long time as a guy. But you've got to obviously try to stay in shape, keep you, dressed well, all that kind of stuff,
Wayne Lineker?
Yeah. How old is he?
I think he's in his 60s, I believe, or late 50s, I believe.
Well, I mean, he's balling it, isn't he? To be honest, I mean,
yeah, he's always surrounded by some chick or something.
Well, yeah. Do you follow his Instagram and stuff?
I do, yeah. But a lot of people also who I follow are always tagged in it. And
oh, really? Have you been to Ibiza?
I've not, no, but I've always wanted to go.
Yeah, I've been like loads of times to Ibiza. I've actually been to. I mean, it was a shame what happened this year, really, because like they opened, didn't they? He owns that place. What's it called? Ocean Beach.
Ocean Beach, yeah.
Which I have been to actually a few years ago, and it was really awesome. It's full of like kind of like Towie type Essex girl, people like that. It was pretty cool. And this year, as when they reopened, I did think a few times about going to Ibiza, but then I was just kind of watching the news and watching Instagram and stuff, and it was sort of like the vibe just wasn't there. Do you know what I mean? Even when it was open, it's just fewer people were going. The clubs weren't open. It's just all a bit. So hopefully 2021 is going to be a massive year. Hopefully, either they're going to roll out this vaccine or they, whatever. So it's just, 2020 has just been a bit of a write-off, really, hasn't it, for the most part?
It has, yeah. I mean, I had a few trips planned. I had Marbella booked for my mate's 30th.
Yeah.
And I had a few places booked on.
Well, I mean, the thing I found was I didn't actually really end up traveling during the summer, even when they'd eased the lockdowns. And a lot of that was to do with, I mean, I went to Berlin a couple of times, but that was about it.
I've been there, actually.
Yeah. And, like a lot of it was trying to work out that even though you could physically travel, it was sort of like saying, okay, I can travel, but where is actually going to be cool? Do you know what I mean? And a lot of places there were semi-restrictions and things like that. I mean, Sweden, I probably should have popped over to Sweden for a bit, actually, because James Tusk went. He was there for 2 months.
All right.
And he said it was really good during the summer, because they obviously had no lockdown. They didn't have masks or anything like that. And during the summer, apparently Stockholm is a really, really cool city. I mean, I've only been in winter, but he was saying that it was really good. It was just pretty normal, and everyone was just getting on with stuff. So,
And for the women that I heard that the Swedish guys are quite shy, aren't they?
But yeah. I mean, I've been to Stockholm a couple of times. Like I say, I've been in winter, which is not the best time to go because it gets very dark and everything. But yeah, I mean, like the Swedish guys are obviously good looking, well put together, all of that, but they're quite shy. They're quite reticent to approach. And the women are very, open about sexuality and stuff like that. So it's a kind of a good combination, really. And a friend of mine, camera guy who I work with, he was over there with James during the summer for a bit. And he was saying that in terms of approaches, he was saying it's one of the friendliest places he's been to. Like, basically, the girls were just very, very receptive, all of the approaches. And even if she ended up rejecting you, it was still a very, they were really friendly, really pleased to be approached and everything like that. But yeah, apparently it was really good. So that's definitely got to be on everyone's list, I think. I mean, but even they've put some restrictions in now for the virus, but they are like voluntary rather than, like legal. So I think people are still, I think it's better than here, basically.
Yeah, which is, I know I don't want to go into the whole situation.
Yeah.
I kind of wish the model we went with, actually. Especially, I think you mentioned it in your Trump Biden show the other day about how we should have followed the Sweden model.
Well, I mean, I think so. I mean, obviously, like you say, don't really want to get into the whole rabbit hole of all of that stuff, but I mean, I've always been instinctively anti-lockdown because it just is so against people's individual civil liberties and everything like that. But having said that, I mean, there is this illness out there. I get that. I know people who've been affected by it myself. I understand the importance of that, but there's got to be some sort of balance, hasn't there? And it's just, but obviously for if you're in terms of the dating scene and all of that, it has been a bit of a rubbish year because except for the summer did pick up.
It did, yeah.
I mean, I was always saying that there was going to be an explosion in dating in the summer, and I think I was right, really. I mean, because I think in the summer it did kind of explode here and in other countries because like when all this started, guys were saying, "Oh, dating's finished forever," and I was like, "No, don't be stupid. You can't suppress human nature." Do you know what I mean? People still want to meet up. People still want to get together. It's not going to go away. It's just and the demand just gets fueled when you push it down.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna have to start doing those 8-hour streams more often.
Yeah. Exactly.
Goodness. So that brings me on to a question. Like, when we've got into travel, is what are like the best cities or the best countries you've been to meet people, meet girls, and?
Well, I mean, like it's a lot of the places that a lot of people talk about, to be honest. I mean, like I think we are really lucky being near Europe. I mean, obviously, after January the 1st, we're probably going to have to fill in 50,000 forms to get in. But just the proximity of being near Europe is really good because we've got loads of great places. I mean, like, one of my favorite cities actually is Budapest in Hungary. I just think Budapest is such an amazing place, really beautiful city. They've got all these awesome like spas and like things there, good nightlife scene. And the girls are really beautiful. Hungarian girls are really, really beautiful. I've dated some Hungarian girls here actually as well. And they're really cool, really beautiful. And yeah, as a game place, it's really, really good. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of this year it's been closed. They've effectively closed the borders. So not really been possible to get in there. But that is a good place. I recommend. Prague is really good.
Yeah, I've always wanted to hit Prague up, actually. It's always been
Yeah. I mean, Prague is a really cool place, but it's a little bit more touristy than Budapest. I mean, Budapest is also touristy, but I think more people go to Prague because it's just very well known. So, but the girls are very receptive. The girls are very pretty. Yeah, it's a good place, and people generally get good results there. I mean, like all of these places, I think they were probably better years ago because there were fewer Western people there. Do you know what I mean? And but nevertheless, they're still really good. Poland's awesome. Warsaw is really good.
Poland,
yeah.
It was the one place I've said in the webinars is that I was on the train and I was with a Polish girl at the time, but it was the one place where every stop, hot girls got on, hot girls got off, and I had some, like great IOIs as well. I was like,
it's kind of it's mad, isn't it, when you go to a foreign place and you're getting all these indicators of interest off girls. It's funny, isn't it, because it's a bit like, well, wait a minute, what happened? Because like
it's like God knows.
Yeah, because it's like I would notice that myself. In London, you get the odd IOI here and there, but then when I've been to say Russia, you get out of the plane, suddenly you're in Russia, and suddenly you're getting all these IOIs, and it's like, well, what happened? I didn't suddenly change. Do you know what I mean? So, like, it does make a difference. Culture.
And it's a good stretch to the ego because the girls are like, really
the girls are better as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Russia's another really cool place. I mean, so St. Petersburg and Moscow.
I've been wanting to get there. I mean, it's just one of those with the visa situation, is it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm getting another visa sorted out at the moment. So, I mean, there again, I mean,
pre-pandemic, I mean, if you get a visa, it's pretty good and pretty easy to get over there.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, like you can get it, the visa thing is a pain, and what's annoying is that they're going to make it easier next year for European citizens to go to Russia. They're going to make it like an online, kind of application system, like going to America. So it's going to be a lot easier for European citizens to go there, but they're not including the British or the Americans because we don't make it easy for them to come here. So unfortunately, the British are still going to have to go through the visa process, which is a pain because you've got to fill in all these forms and you go to the embassy and give your fingerprints and all this kind of thing. Like, it's a bit of a palaver. But having said that, there are companies that will just like do it for you and make it really easy.
Like fast track it, so to speak.
Yeah. So there's certainly people down here. I'm sure there are, in cities around the country, and you just pay them, and they sort of like, they make it easy for you to do. Still a bit of a pain, but it's not horrendous. Do you know what I mean? So, but it's worth it because when you go in there, it's just a cool, like they're really interesting. They're beautiful cities. Obviously, the women are beautiful. And it's just a really interesting experience because culturally it's so different. You get on the plane and 4 hours later you get off the plane and it's like you're in a different world. Do you know what I mean? Culturally, very, very different. So yeah, I'm a big fan. I was gonna go because I had a visa actually that was still in play until about March, and I had been considering going early this year, but then the pandemic hit, and it was that sort of, are they going to close the borders? Are they not? Blah blah blah. So I ended up not going, which was a shame. But yeah, I want to get back there definitely next. You know.
And it's worth going, even if you're not going just to meet women. I think as a place, I mean, St. Petersburg looks stunning, the architecture.
Yeah.
and
St.
stuff.
Petersburg, yeah, St. Petersburg's really beautiful. I mean, like, it's a bit more hipster, it's a bit more studenty, it's a little bit more sort of laid back, I suppose, as a place, you know. But yeah, beautiful buildings. I mean, there's, you know, like, you know, there's good restaurants, cafes, bars, things like this. I mean, it's just a really cool place to go. And then Moscow is a bit more. Moscow's really upscale, you know. You like this very obviously you've got all your Gucci's and your Chanel's and the expensive. It's a very, you can tell there's a lot of money there. Do you know what I mean? And you can feel the security as well when you go in through the airport. I think they're more strict and everything because obviously it's where the government is and all of that. So it's so yeah. But I mean, I like both of them actually, but for different reasons. The first place I went to actually was Moscow. About 7 years ago or something like that, and I just went with a friend of mine and for a few days, and it was a really weird trip. It was like when I went last time about a year or so ago. They've gentrified it a lot more now. You know, it's a lot more sort of like pristine. But a few years ago, it was still fairly rough, and everything was in Cyrillic. You couldn't read any of the language; it was all in Cyrillic, and they were literally looking at us like we come from another planet, you know, like I think now it's a bit more open, but yeah, anyway, I mean, they're amazing places. It's definitely fantastic places to visit for sure.
To my mate who's watching, look, we're going there next year.
100%. You can get like, you can get like a single entry tourist visa, I think, that you have to use within a certain time. And then I think you can get one for like 3 months and you can visit twice or something like that. So there's different options, you know, just it's definitely doable though. But another place you can go where you don't need a visa is Ukraine. So if you go to Kiev, I mean, I haven't been to Odessa, but I've been to Kiev. That's a really cool place to go. And you, like I say, you don't need a visa for that. And you get, you get that kind of vibe there.
I mentioned that to people and go, oh yeah, there's a war going up there, isn't there? I'm like, well, there is, but I don't know if it's.
Yeah, well, if you look on the British government website, you know, for like, should you travel to places and all of that. If you like any place you want to go, you can look on the British website and you can see what their advice is. And they basically say, don't go to, I think it's called Donetsk or something. There's a bit on the border where there's conflict going on, but Kiev is fine. It's not near to there, you know. It's so I've been there. No, I've been there twice, I think now actually, and yeah, I mean it's a very cool place, great city. It's very inexpensive, and I have to say that the quality of the girls you would see there it's very, very high. I would say even the density of attractive girls that you would see in Kiev is higher even than somewhere like Moscow or St. Petersburg. It really is, like, literally every second girl is.
Why do you think that is? I
don't know really.
How they're brought up, or
I don't know. Well, I mean, there. Yeah, I suppose there is that cultural thing of like, you know, there's this sort of. They're very feminine and all that kind of thing, and I guess that is partly cultural. I suppose it's partly genetic as well. But yeah, I mean, it's funny because while I don't like, what I don't know is why it seems like the proportion of very attractive girls it appears to be higher in Kiev than even in Moscow. Because you go to Moscow and obviously there are some beautiful girls. There are also some, you know, less beautiful girls, and it kind of evens out because, you know, it's a very big city. So like anywhere, you know, you're going to see a range of different people. Kiev, it seemed to me to be very weighted towards the, you know, attractive, and yeah, I'm not entirely sure why that is really, but regardless, I mean, obviously it's all good. So
yeah, and I think I know a couple of words in Russian actually.
Yeah.
Privyet.
Nice. That's good.
Datsidanya.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I don't think you need to know them. Like, it's not essential.
Well, I mean, it's a bit of a tricky one actually, because like when I was in Russia last, I mean, I suppose the younger people tend to know English. You know, like a lot of the younger sort of like millennial sort of Gen Z
Yeah.
people do understand English, but not all of them do. You know, it's not quite as English friendly as when you go to Spain or something. So, but I mean, I don't know what you're going to do really. I mean, like obviously Russian is going to be a difficult language to learn. It's going to take some time. I mean, I think probably the best thing to do is just to go out there and, you know, just work with what you can really. I mean, like, you know, unless you really want to make that investment and spend a lot of time learning Russian, but I wouldn't probably do that unless you're planning to sort of like move there or something. So, you know, there's enough people out there that speak English that you're fine. You know, what you do find is sometimes you go into shops and things like that, and the older people don't tend to speak it, and they just look at you like, you know, who's this like foreigner? So there is that element, but you know, I mean,
It's experience though, isn't it? Like
exactly. Exactly. What we did the first time actually when I was there was we were using Google Translate, and we were saying these really like cheesy lines into Google Translate and then holding it up to the girl, and that's quite fun as well. You can do that, things like that.
Because a lot of people like they want that kind of go abroad, and I don't know about you, but when I go abroad, I get that extra spring in my step. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've landed. I'm like, guys,
Yeah, let's go. Yeah,
to kind of meet people, do things,
Yeah.
and be a bit more adventurous. And like, I know like Ibiza is a good place, but you get a lot of people who go to like, you know, Skegness. I don't know what the local seaside to you is, abroad type thing, and those places are okay, but it's like there's no kind of extra kind of cultural differences.
There's
Really.
no vibe, is there? You don't get that extra sort of like oomph, you know. We went to a few Essex places actually in the summer this year. So because like here you've got like well obviously you've got Brighton in Sussex, but then you've got in Essex you've got places like
Margate,
South. Yeah, Margate's in Kent, but you've got Margate, and then you've got in Essex like Clacton and Southend and places like that. And you know they're quite fun, they're quite cool places, but you know you're not going to go there and you know it's not the same vibe as going abroad.
Victoria's Secret model.
yeah, exactly. But saying that, as a place to go and do game as such, I wouldn't particularly say Ibiza is amazing either, really, because for a start, you've got a lot of British people there, and it's sort of...
You're not a commodity as such, are you, I guess?
Well, I mean, the thing with Ibiza is as well, it's very... You've got all these VIP tables and stuff now in the clubs. You've got all of these people coming over from, you know, these Russians and rich kind of people coming over and yachts and all this kind of stuff. So the competition is quite fierce because you've got all the DJs and the footballers and all that kind of stuff. And secondly, the girls tend to be very much on a schedule. It's like, right, we're going to Space tonight. Well, not Space is closed, High or whatever it's called. Then we're going to Pasha. Then we're going to Amnesia. You know, like they tend to be on a schedule. And you're just less of you don't have exotic value there, really. You know, it's just like there's people from all over the world. You're just another British tourist. There's German tourists, American tourists. You're just like, you know, like, whereas if you go to, you know, say you go to Warsaw or something like, or Kiev, you know, there's a bit more, it's like, oh, there's some English guy here. That's interesting. Do you know what I mean? You get a little bit more of brownie points.
Yeah, because it's like you're less expected to be there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, although I mean, have you been to many of the other sort of like typical British places to go on holiday? Because a friend of mine tells me, he's told me some stories about Magaluf where he said he's had some pretty...
I was there when I was younger, yeah, as a kid, but I haven't been there recently.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, but then what kind of quality are you really getting in those places? Do you know what I mean?
Because I always thought it was just predominantly English people, but you do get people from different countries flying in. I've been to Zante, Rhodes is a good Greek island.
A lot of people going on about Mykonos, actually.
Yeah,
these days.
yeah.
Have you been there?
No, but we was going to look at hitting that up for my friend's 30th, actually.
Because apparently Mykonos is quite upscale these days. You know, like there's some quite cool places there and stuff. So yeah, I was looking at that actually for the summer as well. And then they started putting in restrictions again. And I don't know, it's, you know, That's the thing, because you've got a double side with this, haven't you? Because I think Greece is one place that you could go to and then come back here and not have to quarantine. But then they started then putting in restrictions in Mykonos. So they were saying the bars had to close at 10 and, you know, all of this kind of stuff. And then you look at it and you think, well, is it really worth it, you know?
It's not going to be safe. It's the first time there and you're expecting something. It's just going to ruin the experience.
Yeah. So, you know, but I hear that that's a pretty good place. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I just hopefully next year we'll start to open up a bit. But it's, you know, let's wait and see.
I know we've got like some people we communicate, like John MLD. I mean, I speak to him sometimes. But going to the States, for us is I was in Canada a couple of years ago, and just being British, it was a big deal. It was
in Canada.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, especially in Montreal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Not so much in Vancouver. I got mistaken with being Australian quite a few times. So.
Yeah.
But, it was a good chat. It was like one of the girls told me there actually that it's like from being young and growing up, it's like one of their missions to get with a British guy. I was like,
well, let me assist you with the mission. yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I haven't been to Canada actually. I've been to the States quite a few times. I've been to New York a load of times. I have to say, I mean, New York, really, I didn't notice a great. I mean, actually, there was a few experiences where I noticed being British I got brownie points, but I don't think it was like quite as explosive as I thought it was going to be. But then New York, again, it's very international. Yeah. You know, it's like they're a bit too cool. They're a bit like, they're not going to be so phased. I think what you want to do is go to Georgia or something, or Arizona or something.
Town in Kentucky or somewhere like
that.
Yeah.
Exactly. You want to go to one of these states where they're recounting all these votes and, like, you know, rock up there, you know, kind of thing. I mean, I've been to Vegas as well.
I've never done Vegas, but I've always wanted to go. Yeah,
it's quite fun. I quite like that. That's quite cool. Miami again. I mean, like, I don't know. I think my sense is that probably you're like, to really capitalize on the British thing, you're better off going to the smaller towns, smaller cities. But
friend said Cancun's good in the spring break season. You know, just Cancun in general is always a good.
Well, I'm sure it probably is. So James Tusk is over in Mexico at the moment, at a place, not Cancun, but another like seaside, you know, sort of like holiday type resort. And he's saying it's really good. Because it's like open, it's kind of normal. The clubs are open, the bars are open. You know, I mean, it's not a bad shout, I suppose, if you can do that.
Yeah. I see a lot of people I follow as well. They're in Dubai, and that seems pretty normal. The gyms look really good over there as well.
Do you follow that Rob Lipsett guy?
I do, yeah. I've met him a couple of times.
Have you? Yeah. That's interesting. Where's he from? Is he from
Ireland?
Oh, okay. No, I just wondered. But I was just a stab in the dark. But I actually follow him, and I noticed that he's over there. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people are going to Dubai because, well, it's open, isn't it? I mean, it's, you know.
Yeah, he was living in London as well. I don't know if you've seen him.
Do you think he's going to be based in Dubai for a while then?
I would have thought so. I think.
Why would you come back? Really?
Yeah, you got the weather there.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I would be tempted by that actually. I saw on Instagram, funnily enough, one of the hotels it must have been an advert, but they were basically saying get 4 weeks in Dubai for the price of 3, and I think they were trying to capitalize on this, basically the lockdown situation here. So, I mean, you know, like for me, to be honest, I mean, actually, funnily enough, my girl is actually from Dubai, which is kind of interesting. So she's got the real inside scoop on Dubai. So she lived there for many years before moving to England. So and then she moved from Dubai to go to university in England. She moved to Coventry. Right. And I was a bit like, well, what kind of a letdown was that? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, anyway, so yeah, she's told me lots of stuff about Dubai. I mean, I would be up for it at some point, but with this month in particular, like, I was thinking about different things and stuff, and then, like, in the end, the balance just tipped towards, I thought, do you know what? I may as well just stay here. I've got a load of work to do anyway. Just crack on with it and just see where we get to in December. Do you know what I mean? But if they keep doing this in Britain, it's, you know, if you can get out, I would think it's probably a good thing to try and get out for a bit.
I agree. I mean, there's only so much you can stay inside and lock down, isn't there? I mean, the best thing I did when I was locked down was just go for the 6 weeks was just go on daily walks and the whole essential exercise thing. It did me. Sounds cheesy, but it was really good. I think you need to do that for your mental health and stuff like that.
Well, especially because they keep closing the gyms, which is one of the worst things, really. I mean, like when I was in the first lockdown, I was going for runs pretty much every day, and that was really, really good for mental health and stuff. Just getting outside for a bit and all of that. I've been doing that. I mean, I've just been really slowed actually the last week or so, to be honest, because I'm preparing for relaunching Cat Academy on the 1st of December. And so I'm just doing loads and loads of stuff around that and going live on YouTube and stuff. And it's, so this time around, to be honest, I haven't even really noticed that there's a lockdown going on much, really. It hasn't made a massive difference.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem as I do a driving job, and the traffic on the road doesn't seem as bad.
Yeah.
Like in lockdown, nobody really cares about it. There's still kind of like a rush hour going on and stuff. So. Yeah,
I mean, I'm just hoping from over here that they don't decide to make it even stricter. Just go, it wasn't strict enough. So,
Yeah.
And if they do, I'll probably be on the first plane to Dubai or somewhere, to be honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the moment, it's kind of okay. Whatever. But yeah, traveling for dating is really definitely something people should try. And this is the thing, right? Yeah, I mean, you get all these guys, these black pill guys, who are very negative about the whole space and everything, and they'll kind of say, I've seen some of these guys saying, well, travel max is the only way forward, and what they mean by that is traveling so that you can max out your, sexual market value or whatever in a different place. And I'm a bit like, well, that's a no-brainer, isn't it? I mean, like, why, and it's almost as if like, you have to resort to that, and it's a bit like, well, why make it a negative? Like, surely that's a really fun thing to do. Why not just lean into that? I mean, it's a bit like, if you're not getting the traction that you want in dating where you are, why not travel somewhere else? I mean, that just seems I don't think that there's anything bad about that, or sort of like, this is the last resort. It's a bit like, well, no, you should do that anyway. And plus, this is obviously something that people in the dating sphere have been talking about for ages, like Tom Torero, his whole thing was traveling to different places, RSD, it just seems a no-brainer to me.
The benefits you get just from traveling itself is worth its weight in gold as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, it's, I don't really understand the mentality about that, but I think, I mean, what better way, particularly when you are relatively young, to get out there, see a bit of the world, and enjoy the scene in different places. I mean, it just sounds like it's just a great way to live. I don't think I think some people think it's sort of cheating. Do you know what I mean? Like, John MLD will often get hit with this because people will say, well, he's in Japan, so whatever. And it's a bit like, well, not really, because for a start, Tokyo is one of the most expensive cities in the world. You've got very, very high value women there. From what I understand, I don't think that, I don't believe that Tokyo is just this, you just step off the plane and it's really easy for I mean, that might be the case in some other places, but I don't think that's the case in Tokyo. And anyway, so what? I mean, like, if you make a decision to go and live somewhere else because it's a really cool place, and you find you have a better dating life there,
power to you.
Yeah, what's the problem with that?
Thailand gets a lot of bad rap for that, doesn't it?
Well, it does. But even then, I mean, you just go where the market is, really. I mean, like, I don't see a massive problem with it. I think rather than sitting on the internet and doing 12-hour streams where you're crying about how unfair everything is, why not just go somewhere where you get better results? I mean,
there was that pickup guy. I forgot his name. I think he was involved with Kezia Noble, but he went on This Morning and he basically complained about English girls.
Oh, who was that? Was that that wasn't Richard LaRuina, was it?
It was, yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Oh, your English skills. Show me and everything like that.
Well, you know, I mean, it's quite funny that he did that. He's made so much money over the years, though. I think he can just sort of, you know, he can kind of say what he wants, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not really going to affect him. But yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, why not travel? It's just a good thing to do anyway. You know, I mean, I should travel more really. I mean, I kind of have it. I mean, obviously the last year's just been a bit of a washout. But you know, it's just a great way to enrich your life's experience, isn't it?
I just think a lot of people, they underestimate it. And
yeah.
how long you got?
I can understand. I can understand, right? If you are somebody and you're in a small town, say in America or even in England, but you know, let's say America, and you know, you're finding it hard to get dates, and you know, but that's because you're stuck in a microcosm. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can imagine being in a small town in America, and you've got, say, the kid who was the high school jock, and he's getting all the girls, and because everyone kind of knows each other, and that environment, it is going to be really tough, you know. And if you are, you know, not at the top of the ladder, then you are going to find it tough.
Yeah.
But you know, in the end, the lesson is we'll leave and go somewhere where get out of that hierarchy. Do you know what I mean? Go to New York City, go to Manhattan, go to Miami, or indeed, you know, leave the country and go somewhere else. I mean, because you know, there's no point playing a game where it's weighted against you, where you're not going to win. Do you know what I mean? But there's equally, there's no shame in going somewhere where the odds are more stacked towards you. You know, I mean, like, why not? Particularly in this day and age where we can travel. Well, pre-virus, we can travel pretty easily. It's not that expensive, you know, and people can earn money online, and you know, like, we've got so much flexibility these days that we didn't have before. So I think we should enjoy the benefits of that.
I mean, not even just moving about in your own country, country make a big difference. I mean, for me, if I go down south, just being northern is going to somewhere down south. A lot of people, it raises a lot of eyebrows and go, "Oh, you're from somewhere different."
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I have to say,
you have lots of gravy on your dinner and stuff. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, I have to say, because like, I was, as you know, living in Manchester for quite a long time. I'm not from there, but I was, you know, I went there for university and I stayed up there and everything else. And then, and when I came down to London, that coincided with discovering dating dynamics and all this stuff. But my results just went really through the roof. And I think that was partly because I'd learned some techniques, but I think it was also just because it's bigger. Do you know what I mean? Like, it literally just comes down to, you know, size matters. I mean, Manchester, you've got, 500,000, I think. And it's, you know, it's a good place. You've got loads of students coming in, stuff like that. But London, you've got nearly 9 million people now. I mean, there's just so many people here, and you've got all these tourists coming through. So it's just like, even just by the law of numbers, you're going to end up doing better because there's just more opportunities. Do you know what I mean? So it does make a difference. And I understand that not everyone's going to want to move to London. You know, like, if, you know, people have got family, I've got friends in the north, they're never going to move here. That it's just not for them. But, you know, it's worth considering, even if just for a period of time, you know, because like you know, like, just the law of numbers of London and everything, you know, like, if you're in the country, you know, you don't have to worry about visas. You don't have to worry about, you know, you can just come down, you can just decide to move here and just come down, you know? So definitely worth thinking about for sure.
And you've got the opportunities as well, like the work opportunities.
Yeah, exactly.
Ball game altogether, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, you know, so because like, guys will sometimes say, "Oh, I'm living in this really small town and I want to get good at day game. What do I do?" And it's kind of like, well, I mean, you know, I mean, you can make the best of it. But Paul Janker, you know, the original New York City day game dude, I mean, he would just say to people, just come and move to Manhattan. If you're really serious about this, just come and move here for a few years, you know? Because that, like, again, you've got to be practical. You've got to go where the market is, you know?
He's in London now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. I mean, he's married. He's got a kid and stuff. But yeah, he's based in London now. Yeah. So it's
I don't know how long you've got, or.
Oh, I tell you what. Actually, if you don't mind, I'm gonna have to leave in a second because I've got to go and go and meet somebody in town now, if you don't
Okay.
mind.
Awesome. What we can do then, we'll clip the recording if you want to.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll just say, yeah, so thanks for coming on anyway, Troy. I appreciate that, man. It's been a really good chat, and hope you guys enjoyed this. And yeah, well, I'll leave your links below. I've got your Instagram and your channel, so I'll leave your links below on my channel. Awesome.
Good stuff, mate. All right. Thanks ever so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, we will chat again very soon, no doubt.